In Penwyn, almost every family is white, while in Overbrook, almost every family is black. I grew up in Penwyn, I'm white, and I knew kids in my neighborhood would rarely, if ever, visit Overbrook or meet people who live there. We only learned about West Philadelphia from a distance, from older kids or adults, saying it was dirty or unsafe, and there was no place for us there, while Penwyn was a safer, happier place for everybody. Feelings of division make the county line a complicated place to develop your sense of self. To explore these feelings, I wanted to collect conversations about growing up, with kids living on either side of the divide, then connect them together to build a kind of bigger conversation between people who don't normally meet face to face, though they live so close together. I spent a few days each at 2 neighborhood libraries, asking young people ages 8 to 18 about where they live and what they know about the neighborhood across the county line. I started in the suburbs, at the Penwyn Library.
Tell me what I should start at. Can you ask the question too?
Yeah, I'm going to ask the question so we can start. So first off, how old are you?
I'm 9 years old, and
You don't have to get that close.
my brother Dory is 11.
Okay, so you guys are 9 and
Yeah.
11? And what neighborhood have you lived in, like, up until now?
Winwood.
Do you
Yeah.
live Penwyn, like, near here?
Yeah, Penwyn. We go to Penwyn School.
Cool.
I Yeah, and I go to Black Rock next year.
What do you like about living around here?
There's like all our friends are like around the corner here. There's like parks and a lot of community.
And there's a lot of greenery, and everyone's nice to each other, and we have like a huge like there's a good school, and there's a good playground, and there's a lot of like good stuff.
Do you know a lot of other people who live around Penwyn?
Yes.
Yeah, so all our friends.
Do you know anybody who lives in Overbrook, like on the other side of City Avenue?
No.
No.
Have you ever gone to the Overbrook Library? That's near here.
No.
Have you ever thought about moving to Philadelphia or like Overbrook, the other side of City Avenue?
We're
Actually,
moving somewhere to Philadelphia.
Actually, no.
I mean, not Philadelphia, but
We didn't think, because this Penwyn area, it's like, I feel like it's better, not by like money, but like it has more greenery. It has like more like good stuff, and it's like
more like birds chirping.
Yeah.
And like,
You feel like over there it's really dense with a lot of
yes,
buildings.
and there's a lot of
Yeah.
there's a lot of skyscrapers, cars which are noisy, and
yeah, there's no like backyards to play in.
less, just
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
And what neighborhood do you live in?
I live in this neighborhood right around here, so Penwyn.
And you go to school near here?
I do, Lower Marion High School.
What do you like about your neighborhood, living around here?
There's a lot of places near here that are just really close. Like we have a nail salon down the street, a pizzeria, the library's right here. It's very easy to walk to places, so.
Is there anything you dislike about the neighborhood and living around here?
No, I don't really think so. I think it's a pretty good neighborhood.
And do you know anybody who lives around Overbrook or other side of City Avenue?
No, I don't think so. I think most people live on the other side, so, yeah.
And have you ever gone over to Overbrook, Haddington?
No,
Winfield
not
at all?
far. I'll go down to Main Line, to the strip of shops down there, but I haven't...
City Avenue?
Yeah, City Avenue, but I haven't seen, like, the houses down there. I haven't at least walked down there. I've definitely driven by, but...
You've driven around?
Yes.
And not gone places? Do you
Yeah.
know anything about the neighborhoods over there?
No, I don't know anything, really.
Have you ever thought about moving to Philadelphia or
No.
any neighborhood in West Philadelphia around here?
No, probably not.
How come?
Well, at least in Philly, there's all that traffic. It's super crowded in there. And, the school district over here is great. So it would be a big change to have to move over there.
I mean, if you were a kid or if you were an adult?
Both, really. I mean,
Like
'cause,
if you were to have kids, you feel like...
Yeah, I feel like I'd just rather stay around here. You know, I feel the school district is really good, so.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
And what neighborhood do you live in now?
Marion Station.
So, a little bit away from here?
Yeah, like a mile.
And you used to live closer?
I used to live right across the street from the library, like right. I could point my house out to you if we were over there, but yes.
And you used to live in Philly also?
Yeah, in East Falls. I wasn't in like central Philadelphia.
How long were you living right across from the library?
I lived there for 7 years, I think, 7 to 8 years.
And what did you like about living around here?
It's really nice. It's really peaceful. I had like the neighbors next door I was best friends with, so I would hang out with them all the time. And I lived right across from a library, so that was like how I kind of developed my love for reading, just because I was here all the time. I got to walk to school, so I liked it a lot better than Philly, probably.
You walked to school at Penguin?
Mm-hmm, yes.
And used to come to the library all the time?
Oh yeah, every day after school.
What would you do here at the library?
Just read, honestly. Like, I read until they kick me out.
Until it closes?
On Fridays, not on other days. But yeah, I'd read until like 6 and then I'd go home for dinner.
What else did you like to do around the neighborhood here?
Going to Boston Style was a really big one. Yes. Oh yeah. And then there was the park over there. I forget the name of it.
Penguin Park?
Yeah, Penguin Park, the school park we went to a lot. I used to just like walk my dog all the time, stuff like that.
And do you feel like you would be around a lot of people you know when you were living here?
Yeah. I'd see people from school all the time, and I knew all of my neighbors. So yeah, I saw a lot of people I knew all the time.
Do you know anybody who lives in West Philadelphia, like Overbrook, right near here on the other side of City Avenue?
I think my mom does. I don't know any of them personally, but my mom is like still friends with them.
How does your mom know them?
From when we lived there, honestly.
You lived in Overbrook too?
No, it was East Falls.
Okay.
She knows people from Overbrook because we lived right there, so we knew everyone in the area. We were just kind of friends, like, as neighbors. But yeah, my mom knows more people than me.
From a lot of the people I've talked to at the library here so far, they tend to say they don't know anybody who lives
really?
on the other side of City Avenue, like Overbrook, West Philadelphia. Does that seem surprising?
I would say so.
You would say so?
I would say so, because when I lived here, my parents at least were friends with people on the other side of City Ave. I don't know about other people, but my parents were.
And how did your parents meet them? Walking a dog?
No, when my parents moved from Philadelphia, from Indiana, when they first moved here, my dad met a lot of people at his job, and my mom started playing, like, club Ultimate Frisbee, and she met a lot of people from there, so she knew a lot of people from Philadelphia through that way. Yeah, PATA.
PATA?
Mm-hmm, yes.
Philadelphia Area Disc Alliance?
Yes, that one.
Is there anything you dislike about living around here, or when you lived in Penguin?
No, I don't think so. I loved my street because the ice cream truck stopped right in front of my house. Other than that, I really didn't care. Every once in a while, we had, like, a bike stolen or, like, a scooter stolen, but, I mean, it was a bike and a scooter. It wasn't really, like, I don't know, a horrible tragedy. So, no, I didn't really have any complaints.
When I was growing up, I know a lot of young people and their parents kind of had this expectation that people from Philadelphia, if they were around here, were trying to steal people's bikes or break into people's houses.
Yeah. I didn't really hear that much. We did have our house broken into. I didn't hear it from anyone around here. I mostly heard about, like, my area as, like, a bad thing from people who didn't live here.
People who live further in the suburbs
Yeah.
think that being closer to Philly is what?
Like, I guess I shouldn't say bad, but my mom's friend once said, like, to her, she was like, you live on the poor side of the tracks, essentially. So I think that
Which tracks?
I don't know. She
Because
said,
it's on the wealthy side of City Avenue.
I don't know. Right? She said poor side of the tracks. I think she meant by, I don't know where the nearest train is. I think it's...
The Paoli-Thorndale line?
Yes, the
so
Paoli.
So south of there, she's saying is more poor?
Is
like
more poor.
Penwyn compared to Ballackinwood or Narberth?
Yeah. Yep, I think... And I didn't hear it from any of the adults, but I heard it, like, I wouldn't say kids at school, but, I don't know, I didn't hear a lot about how, like, people from Philly were, like, bad, or, like, they were trying to rob the area. I heard about how this area was poor from people who lived closer to Ballackinwood, or people who lived farther, over there. You can't see where I'm pointing, but, like...
Toward the main line.
Yeah,
out into
towards the
suburbs.
main line, exactly.
Why do you think people thought that? Is it because there was actually anything like that, like crime going on, or was it because they watched on the news and heard about that, or?
Probably from the news. In my experience, I had more, like, I guess, crime when I lived here as opposed to in Marion Station, so I guess they could deduct from that because it is closer to the city that there's more, like, crime and stuff. I guess that would just be why, and maybe just, like, the fact that it is so close to Philly that they would assume that there would be more crime.
What do you think people in Overbrook or West Philadelphia think about Penwyn and the suburbs?
Probably that it's really nice. I know also that Penwyn is known for the elementary school because it's part of Lower Marion, and it's, like, one of the best elementary schools in the area. I know that my parents moved me out of Philadelphia to go to that specific elementary school. One of my best friends moved out of Philadelphia. She didn't move here, she moved to Ballackinwood so she could go to the middle school there. But my dad's a realtor, so he tells me all the time, this specific area, it's always, like, houses are always going so fast because young families are moving in to go to the elementary school.
Mm-hmm. My parents said that they had sometimes seen people who would be pulling up, like, driving from Philly to City Avenue to drop off their child, like, at that bus stop, because the child was, maybe they have parents who live in West Philly, but, like, an uncle who lives in the suburbs.
Yeah.
So they would be enrolled in school, registered under that uncle's address, but they'd be coming from Philly. Yeah. You've heard of this?
I know people who did that and who do that to this day, yeah.
And how do they feel about going to these schools?
I think I think that they're, like, overall grateful. I mean, they complain about, like, oh, I have to drive to school for 45 minutes, so I have to do this and stuff like that. But I think overall they are grateful because, I mean, like, I was grateful because my parent, like...
You guys moved.
Yeah, we moved. So I'm grateful that my parents moved me out of Philadelphia so I can go to this nice school district, and I'm pretty sure my friends are as well because, like, it's one of the better school districts in this area, so yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 17.
And what neighborhood do you live in?
Penwyn, I would say.
Do you feel comfortable saying what street you live on?
Yeah, Old Forest.
Oh.
So it's right on kind of the county border with Haverford Township and Delaware County there, too.
Yeah, because there's a sign that says Haverford Township or Lower Marion Township. And do you go to school near here?
Yeah, I go to Lower Marion.
Okay. And did you go to Penwyn?
Yes,
also?
I did.
Okay, cool. And so did I. Did you walk there when you were...
I occasionally did. I did it more so just because I enjoyed it. Like, I had a bus, so I wasn't in a zone where I needed to walk. But I would do it a lot just because if it was nice outside, I just enjoyed doing that.
Do you have siblings who you live with also?
Yeah, I have a younger brother.
Okay, cool. And what do you like about living around here?
I really like that it's it was easy for me to kind of get around and go do things, especially once I started biking, and that really gave me a lot of independence, just being able to like get into Ardmore in 10 minutes on a bike. Like, that's really cool. Narberth is right there too. I mean, downtown Penguin, we don't have a ton right here, but there's a lot of stuff close by, and it feels very safe, so that's nice too.
When you say it feels safe, like,
Right.
what do you mean by that?
I guess I mean, I guess kind of a general indicator of that is like the wealth of a neighborhood, that contributes to that idea in my mind, whether or not that's like concrete. And I also know the statistics are pretty good for here.
Statistics about what?
About crime rates, especially. I mean, it's broken down by like area, like neighborhood even. So like even you can see that Ardmore is a little bit higher rates and some things in here, but.
Some people I've talked to here have said that they feel like it's a rich area,
Right.
and some people have said they don't think that.
Interesting.
Do you feel like you live among...
I feel like it's a wealthy area. I do think that in comparison to like Lower Merion as a whole, like Penguin, this area is probably a little bit more like middle class in quotes. But I mean, average house in this neighborhood at this point is going to be like $500,000. Like that's not cheap. And there are certainly many people who live in multi-million-dollar houses in Lower Merion, so it's all in perspective. But I do think that it's generally a wealthy area.
Yeah, one thing that one other person said here is that people who live further into the suburbs think that Penguin is more dangerous.
I would say that's
less
true.
wealthy, less-
I think that even Ardmore would be like even a step up just
you
because.
think it's true that it is more dangerous?
No, I
over
think
here?
it's true that that's the perception.
That people think that.
Right. I don't think that there's really significant crime. I mean, I've never witnessed anything, and I've heard the most I usually hear about is like teenagers doing things like getting into fights or like teenagers shoplift, but you rarely ever see an armed robbery, at least on this side of City Avenue.
So why do you think people think that?
Think that this area is
Dangerous over here?
it's denser. The houses are smaller. We've got twin houses, and we're very close to Philadelphia too. Like you can walk right there, and there's like that shopping center on City Avenue right there, and you can see into West Philly, and it looks like West Philadelphia with brick row homes. So I guess that perception of being close to that, perhaps, but also just it's a denser area with smaller homes.
You feel like West Philadelphia is more dangerous than over here?
I think that specific part of West Philadelphia is one of the better areas in terms of crime rates, but I do think that as a whole, I don't feel unsafe when I'm there, but I guess yes, if I had to compare, I would say that I think here is safer.
Yeah. And there are some people who live around
Right.
here who feel it's unsafe.
Right. I think it's a lot about just like how you're kind of conditioned growing up. Like for me, I've been very, very, very exposed to the city. I've been taking the train with my parents since I was like a baby, and I've been doing it by myself since like I was 10, going into Center City by myself. So you go through West Philly on the Market Frankfurt line there. Yeah. And I'm very, very used to it. I mean, we can walk to like the Aldi at the City Avenue, so we like do that. There's CVS there. Like it's been part of my life, so it's not really anything like but like sometimes I don't know, I'll look on like a map or like a crime app that I have, and it'll be like, oh, like armed robbery 2 days ago, and I'm like, well, glad I wasn't there for that.
Happening where?
I've seen some things at that City Avenue shopping center. I mean, it's not like all the time, but I don't think I've ever seen, since I've been checking that, so maybe the last 2 years, an armed robbery within Lower Merion.
Yeah. That's the Citizen app?
Yes, the Citizen app.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And when I was growing up, being close to City Avenue, a lot of the people who live on this side seem to have an expectation that people from Overbrook or West Philly might come to steal their bikes or cars.
I've heard that before.
You've heard of?
No, I've heard of people feeling that way.
Yeah.
I've even I've even heard it from my parents, just because like my mother we don't know what this circumstance was or like what exactly happened, but like 10 years ago, she left her car unlocked one night and somebody came by our street, was breaking into cars. People leave their doors unlocked in my neighborhood, so a bunch of people.
Car doors unlocked. Or house doors?
People's houses were being broken into, but my mother just left her car unlocked by accident. She just wasn't thinking about it, and she got her sunglasses stolen from there. And like, we don't have any footage of it. We don't know who it was or what happened, but we talked to neighbors and everyone had something that happened. So now she's like panicked every night checking, and she's like, well, we do live so close to City Avenue there. She's brought that up.
How do you respond when people bring up things like that?
I think it's a little bit prejudiced, but I also understand her concern. I mean, and I do think that I've heard way worse rhetoric from other people, like friends' parents and stuff. I think that, and
What
even
kind of things have you heard?
just people like, I've had friends who whose parents like, their friends would be hanging out at my house, and we would go walk to City Avenue Shopping Center, buy stuff there, and then when they found out that we were there, they were like, oh no, that's not okay, like, we're coming to pick you up right now. Like, we walked to TJ Maxx and my friend's mom, and granted we were like 12, but I mean, a 12-year-old can go for a walk by themselves.
Would you be allowed to go to Boston-style pizza by yourself?
Yeah, totally. I was doing that actually for forever, honestly.
But just going to the other side of City Avenue?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been fine, again, for me, but some of my friends' parents, I think, have kind of really sheltered them into this suburban lifestyle and really just cemented the idea that, like, you don't cross that.
There was one librarian here who,
Right.
when I first came here last month to talk about doing this story, when I shared that I live in Philadelphia
Right.
now, she said, oh, that's bad neighborhoods over there.
Was it like a library, not a page here?
It was not
Okay.
a page, it was a library.
Okay.
No need to say who
yeah.
it was, but do you hear those kinds of things, like in the library?
Yep.
Customers, people getting books, people who work here?
Sometimes, I mean, I've honestly heard it most from older coworkers of mine, and it's just kind of like a nod and smile because,
That's how you respond?
like, just like a, like, I don't want to get into an argument.
Is money or class something that you talk about at the library, like as a page?
Not
or in programs,
really.
books?
Like, not with other people here that much. I mean, I've gotten close with like some pages here, so like we've talked about it tangentially with talking about like college and like what, like, oh, like maybe I will consider committing here, but we need to see what the financial aid is. So like you get a little bit of an idea, but
Do you feel like that was one of the first types of conversations where you were finding out about people's
at the library or
I
like
mean,
in
growing
general?
up here, were you talking about
Finances with people's
earlier
family.
than that, or was talking about college financial aid like the first?
No, I think that there were some conversations about finance. I mean, with like I was somebody who,
You talk about it with your family?
it's complicated. My parents they try to be very, very like, they don't really want to bring it up. They don't feel like it's super appropriate, but my grandparents kind of like, I mean, I just like an hour ago I took a call from my grandmother and she wanted to let me know how the stocks she invested in for me were doing. So like that's very different, where she's like very openly, and she'll tell me like, do you want this in the will for you? Like, it's very, very like
Generational wealth.
yeah, that's very much the case. Versus my parents feel like it's private, and they feel like as long as I have a general idea that like we're living comfortably, I don't need to worry.
Would you guys talk about class and money at school?
A little bit. I mean, not necessarily like specifics with people, but I mean, there have always been like comments here and there where teachers are like, you know, Lower Merion seems like a very, very wealthy area, but there are still families who are hungry, and that's why we're donating to the food bank or something like that. Or like, kind of just, I mean, knowing
Do you
that
think they are being genuine?
I mean, there are people who are at my school who are on like free or reduced lunch. I know about, and there's always offers for like whenever there's a field trip, like getting a fee waiver. So there certainly are some people that it applies to. I mean, anywhere. I mean, there are certainly places where you can live here that are like, I don't know, maybe $100,000 apartment or something like that, or you can rent, and that can be cheaper. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think that anyone here is like I think that it's probably like 1% or lower below the actual poverty line, but I don't know. I don't know that statistic.
Yeah. Do you know anybody who lives in West Philadelphia? On the other side of the
I have
city?
to think about that. I don't honestly think so. I don't know when it's a very separate world. I mean, I even sometimes think about, like, I'll see sometimes, like, if I see, this is probably like quite a prejudiced assumption in my mind, but if I see like a Mercedes that like drives down Haverford Road and then crosses City Avenue into West Philly, my mind is like, oh, that's somebody who's like driving into Center City. And if I see like a beat up car
commuting,
yeah, like driving
who
through,
lives out here,
okay. And vice versa, if I see like a beat up 30-year-old Ford coming up from that way, I'm like, oh, somebody's driving into Lower Merion for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I do think about like kind of that divide and how a lot of people like don't cross to the other side.
Do you think that most people your age around here who you go to school with would describe themselves as wealthy?
Honestly, no. I think that it's probably maybe 50-50. I think that there are some people who certainly recognize they're wealthy, but there's a lot of people who seem to think that they are firmly middle class when I can look at their house on Realtor and see estimated value over $2 million. So I would not call that middle class personally.
Why do you think those people think that they're middle class, say that they're middle class?
I think that there's kind of it's still suburbia at the end of the day, and some people have this image in their mind that like you need to live on a like 30-acre estate to be rich, or like live in. I also think that there's some people who just aren't in tune with like how much their parents make, that this is actually a nice area. Like they'll think like, oh, like rich parts of the country are like Manhattan or like Beverly Hills, but like, I mean, every city has pretty much like at least one wealthy suburb that people commute into the city for jobs and come back, and this is one of them. But I think that a lot of people aren't exactly sure to what degree that is, I guess.
It sounds like your outlook has been influenced a lot by spending time going into Philadelphia. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Are there other people who you know who they don't go into Philadelphia as much, and you disagree with them about their point of view?
I have friends of mine who I mean, there's one, the influence of their parents, but I also have friends of mine who have told me, they're like, can we take the like R5, like the Paley-Thorndale line, into the city instead? And I'm like, it's further for me to drive to. It's like $7 ticket. Like it's kind of ridiculous. Like I don't mind the Market Frankfurt. And they're like, well, I don't feel safe on it, so I'm gonna do that. And I'm like, okay, I'll meet you there. Like have fun with your 1 hour frequency. These come every 10 minutes. So.
And how do they respond to that? Do you try and tell them that it actually is safe, or they'd be
they just laugh it off, and they see me as kind of a risk taker. But they understand that I was raised in that. I mean, it's definitely it varies from person to person for sure. But I do think that in general people are less familiar with it and less comfortable with it.
Have you ever had interactions with people your age who live in Overbrook, or what? Not
really. I don't think I've had like a lot of opportunities to do so. I've definitely interacted with adults who live there. I mean, if I'm shopping like in
Aldi,
yeah, I see people, and a lot of times I think that it's very interesting to me. Like, I mean, this doesn't not happen in Lower Merion, but people are way more willing to like just spark up a conversation with people there. I think that they kind of feel a sense of like kinship. So people, like, I'll be waiting in line at a store and like a woman will just like start talking to me, and I'm like obviously friendly. I mean, I think that it's really cool to talk to people, and I'm not like scared.
I agree. I find people are a lot more open to talking,
right.
even at the Overbrook Library compared to here.
Right. Well, and it's also, I think it's kind of like...
And you think people would probably not start a conversation with you at Whole Foods?
I think not as much. I think that people around here are in a rush, and they come into Whole Foods in their suit and tie after work. Yeah.
What do you think people in Overbrook and West Philly think about Penguin and the suburbs?
Probably. I mean, I think that they probably do notice a wealth divide, and I think that there's probably an assumption of being spoiled or not really kind of people taking what they have for granted. And I think that I don't think that they're blind to the disparity, if that makes sense.
Now, some conversations I had with young people at the Overbrook Library, less than 1 mile away in West Philadelphia. How old are you?
9, 8,
And what neighborhood do you live in?
Marvin Street. Marvin Street.
In which neighborhood?
I don't really know, but I live around here though.
Near Overbrook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you go to school around here?
Yes.
Yes.
Which school?
Number 10.
And what do you like about living in school?
What I like about living around here, like there's clothes, poppy stores. Like if you want to go to the poppy store, there's a library. If you want to like go to the library, read books, like know how to read and stuff. There's schools or there's some good schools around here that you can go to and stuff.
I agree.
Do you guys know anyone who lives like in the suburbs, a couple blocks away across City Avenue, like Penwyn or Wynwood?
No.
I don't know.
Have you ever gone over there?
Nah.
No.
Have you ever driven through the neighborhoods in the suburbs?
Oh, yeah.
And what do you see over there?
Or around there? A lot of trees.
You feel like more than in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
It's more trees.
Yes.
Is there anything else you wanted to share about growing up around Overbrook? What do you think is important for people to know?
Just try not to get in that much trouble.
What do you mean trouble?
Because one of my friends said he lives in the hood.
Huh?
Yeah. He lives in the hood. Yeah, probably because it's around dangerous streets. Dangerous. So watch your back. I'm seriously, watch your back.
Do you feel like you live in the hood?
Yeah, I do.
Like right here?
Yeah. Because I hear a lot of bangs.
Anything could happen if you're around here.
And there's
Something.
And also the bangs don't know where you're coming from. So,
You
yeah.
mean that it could be a gun, or it could be a car,
Yeah.
or something else.
Yes. Got me up.
But you guys like living around here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
WP, we're the aces. You're trying to sing the school song.
You guys can sing a school song if you want to.
WP, we're the aces.
I don't really have a school song.
No?
Nah.
Your turn.
You can beatbox?
Nah, not really.
I can. That's it.
That's making noises?
You just doing.
How old are you?
I'm 10.
And what neighborhood do you live in?
I live in Drexel Road.
Is that near here?
Yes.
Like Overbrook?
Yeah.
Cool. And do you go to school near here?
Mhm.
What school?
St. Francis Cabrini.
And what do you like about your neighborhood, living around here?
Sometimes it can be calm, but not all the time. Sometimes.
Have you ever been to the Penwyn Library before?
Penwood, no.
You know how like the suburbs is right across the street of City Avenue? Like we're on the edge of Philly, and then after you cross that street, then it's the suburbs?
No,
Have you ever gone to the suburbs?
I don't think so.
What do you like about your school?
Sometimes the teachers can be nice.
What do you dislike about your school?
The teachers.
What do you mean?
Wait, I take that back.
Okay.
I don't like the food. It don't be cooked all right.
Is there anything you dislike about living around here?
Yeah, but like you know the bikers that be rolling their motorcycle. But when you're trying to sleep, they can come around and like zoom, zoom with the motorcycles, and that's just like kind of annoying.
Is there anything else?
No,
Mostly the motorcycles.
yeah, but it don't happen all the time. So if you want to move to Philly, this good, but yeah.
What do you think other people who don't live here think about this neighborhood?
I really don't know, but I think that it's a bad city. I think that they think that Philly's a bad city.
Why do those people think that?
I don't know. Maybe because you know Instagram, they be having all these things about Philly and stuff happening in Philly. I think that's why they don't want to come to Philly. But
About what stuff happening?
I really don't know. Like shootings, like robbing people.
Do you ever go trick-or-treating for Halloween?
Mhm.
Where do you do it?
I go. No offense, but I like to go to the white people.
Yeah, where? Where's that?
My mom or my dad usually come and take me somewhere.
To a different neighborhood? And you said it's where more white people live, right?
No offense to you.
No, that's not offensive. That's in the suburbs then, right?
I think so.
What?
Because I don't like to go there because they have big candy bars.
You don't go there any other times?
No, I only go there for trick-or-treating.
Do you know anybody else from your neighborhood who goes there? You go with your family or cousins?
Yeah, I go with my cousin. Sometimes I go with there. And then, yeah, my friend Milan, she lives on my block. And she usually goes to the white people.
And when you go over there, what do you notice about the neighborhood? What does it look like?
Like you know how Philly is, they trashy, but when you go to the white neighborhood, it's clean.
Clean, like on the street or the sidewalk?
The street, the sidewalk, and everything.
What else do you notice?
Nothing.
The houses or
Well, the more houses, they bigger.
Really? Okay, of course. Testing 1, 2.
How old are you?
I'm 17.
And what neighborhood do you live in?
Overbrook Park.
And do you go to school around here?
No, I go to school in Center City.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable sharing what school?
The Philadelphia High School for Creative and Performing Arts.
Gotcha.
I'm an MDTV major.
Okay. What does that stand for?
Media Design, Television, and Video.
Awesome. And so Overbrook Park, like right near here is where you live, right?
Yes.
And is that where you grew up?
Yes.
What do you like about living around here?
Overbrook Park, it's very quiet, and it's easy for someone to just take a walk and find a nice quiet place to eat or draw or hang out with some friends. I also love the sunsets around Overbrook Park. Just when the light hits the sidewalk at the right time, it just makes my walk home.
I know what you're talking about. I guess kind of a green and yellow and gold type light in the sky.
I always felt it more orange and purple.
Do you have something you want to say?
So, like, you know, when it's raining, right, and the clouds and the blue sky, that's when the rainbows come in, and it looks pretty nice. So I second what he said.
Mm-hmm. Have you been to the Penguin Library before?
I honestly, this is the first time I'm hearing of a Penguin Library.
What do you know about the neighborhoods over there?
They're always they have a lot of trees. That's another thing I noticed. Despite living in a place called Overbrook Park, there aren't really a lot there. I don't see a lot of trees. In other neighborhoods, I see trees everywhere. Some of them, they're even like crowded over houses, and they always look so nice. It's like there are people like coming in to take care of those trees. And I guess one more thing I don't like about Overbrook Park is that if something goes wrong, it takes a long time for it to get cleaned up. There was a time where there was a time where our streets were getting redone, and the construction workers dumped out a lot of sand and just onto the street and just left it there for a year. It's been there for a year. And right now there's a giant tree that fell over in somebody's driveway, in our driveway. I live in a row home, and so we all share a common driveway, and a tree there fell over 3 months ago, and it's been so big that we haven't been able to pick it up, and we haven't been able to call anybody to come clean it up, so nobody's been able to take that driveway.
One time when I was growing up, my sister and her friend, who's also white, were walking over around here, somewhere between here and City Avenue, and said that some young girls on the street whispered to each other, "Look, white people."
That actually checks out a lot, because Overbrook Park is mostly a black neighborhood. I've researched the history of it, and from what I know, it used to be an almost entirely Jewish population. But since the 1970s, I believe, it's become predominantly African American. And
There's still some white Jewish people who live around here, though. Yeah.
that is true. And I used to have a neighbor who lived next door to me. They moved out 3 years ago. But I'd hear a lot of my neighbors who didn't know their names just call them the white people, and they say that not to be mean or anything, but because they were literally the only white people on the street. So if you just said that, everyone would know who you were talking about.
Do you feel like in the future you'd like to keep living around this same area?
I'd love to be here. I want to see the world. I think everyone could benefit from having the experience of many different places in the world before deciding where they'd want to settle down and choose the place that best fits them. But because from what I've experienced, because I feel like I've been in a bubble all my life, and as much as I need to get out that bubble and really explore, this is home to me. I don't see myself being any place else, and if I really care about my neighborhood, in spite of its flaws, I'll stick around to help it improve because I want to see it better. I think that Overbrook Park is a neighborhood that we might not be doing the best now, but I think if we could all put our resources into where they're needed most, we could really have a strong, growing, and useful neighborhood.
How old are you?
I'm 16. Yes.
And what neighborhood do you live in?
I live around here a few blocks away.
Overbrook?
Yeah, Overbrook.
And do you go to school near here?
No, I go to school in Drexel Hill, Bonner Prendy.
Bonner and Prendergast,
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And what do you like about living around here?
I like how, I don't know, I like the community. I mean, it has gotten a little worse over the years, but I like, just knowing people, everything being so close by, having our own, stuff nearby. It's just convenient, it's nice. It's not too much going on here, it's just...
That's what some other people have said too,
Yeah.
is that it's calm, you can walk around.
You can walk around and feel safe. There are little incidents, but rarely anymore.
Where are the places you like to go in the neighborhood?
The Poppy store corner store, sorry. The corner store down the street.
You don't have to apologize.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's just how I talk. The corner store down the street. I'll go to, the Applebee's over there, TJ Maxx and all that. I just stay in the complexes. I stay close by.
The
Yeah.
Applebee's is over at City Avenue, right?
Yeah.
In the shopping center.
In that shopping
with
center.
Rita's
With the Rita's and the
TJ
hair
Maxx.
store, TJ, all that stuff. So that's pretty much what I go. And Rita's too. I love Rita's.
Do you feel like when you say Poppy store, some people don't know what you mean?
The people that I talk to, they're from around here, so they understand what I'm saying, but if I'm talking to someone from a different state or something, because New York, they say bodega and all that stuff.
Deli.
Yeah, deli, bodega, all that stuff. So, yeah, no, not all the time. Or especially going to school in the county, sometimes they don't really understand.
Do you know people who live in the suburbs, like Penwyn or Wynwood?
Not too many, but I do. If I do know them, they're from my school. I'll see them at
Bonner
school.
and Prendergast.
Bonner and Prendergast, yeah.
Okay. Would you say that you're friendly with anybody who lives over there? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
have
they're
you
cool
gone
people.
over there?
I have
gone
a few
to people's
times.
houses and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice houses, nice neighborhood.
A lot of people who I've talked to here said they generally just never gone over there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that's true for a lot of people?
I think that
who
is
grew up
true. Yeah, a lot of people just stay around here, but I guess it's who you know, to be over there. If that makes sense.
there? When you were growing up, did you talk about, with your family, how it's different?
I
on
did.
the other side of City Avenue?
Yes.
Your family talked about it?
Yeah, I spoke about it because I used to not like living here. I used to want to be in the suburbs and stuff because it just seemed like better there. I don't know.
You had driven around the suburbs like,
Yeah.
with your family, and you saw it.
Yes.
What did you think was better?
It just looks cleaner, the bigger houses. That's pretty much it, yeah.
Some of the kids at Penwyn were saying also that their families would not want them to come over here into Overbrook.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar? You've
Yeah.
heard of people
No,
saying that
definitely,
kind
yeah.
of thing? Why do people say that?
People think it's more dangerous because we're in Philly and, you know, the things that happen here, the gun violence, all that stuff. So some people don't think it's safe for their kids, but I think it's gotten better. Well, no, not really, but a little calmer over here, at least.
Do you think it actually is as dangerous as people think it is?
Not this area, no. No.
Not Overbrook, but
Not
over
Overbrook,
parts
but
of
Other
Philly?
parts of Philly definitely is.
Other parts of West Philly?
Yes.
Did you talk like with your family about money or class, like having a lot of money versus not having a lot of money when you were growing up, or do you talk about it now?
Yeah, I had a few conversations with them when I was younger. Just like, yeah, a little bit, yeah. Not too.
What did you guys talk about?
Well, they wanted to move for a while, so that, because they wanted a better area, better neighborhood. My parents never liked living in Philly, but it was the money that was the problem.
But you were going over there to hang out at people's houses, people you know from high school, right?
Yeah.
Have they ever come over here to where you live?
No, I don't. No, they don't.
Thought
When I
about
was
that.
in middle school, they did, but
Gotcha.
I didn't really feel comfortable. I don't know.
You didn't feel comfortable inviting people over in general, or
No.
inviting people who live in the suburbs?
People who live in the suburbs,
How come?
just because it's like maybe it was the people that I was with, maybe, but it just felt more like a judgmental type of thing. 'Cause
You worried that they would be
judging me,
judgmental?
yes.
Do you ever feel like you have been judged by people
Yes.
you go to school with?
Not people at school, because most of the people live around here actually at my school, but yeah, some people, yes.
By who?
Well, it's my friend. Well, not my friend. Somebody that was from middle school that's been in my house before, like stuff like that. In other situations where I don't know how to explain it. It's
Was
lot
it a
to
conversation that happened?
No.
Or just a feeling that you got?
explain. Just a feeling, looks and all that stuff, body language.
So what do you think people in the suburbs tend to think about Overbrook or West Philly?
Just that, like, not I don't want to say it's below them, but like, it's a difference. Like, I don't want to use the word below, but I can't find a better word. But I just that there's a difference between the two, I'd say.
Do you agree?
I know that there is a difference, but as I've gotten older, like, it's really not too deep to me anymore.
Because you have bonds with people
Yeah.
who live over there. Do you feel like most people who live around Overbrook have friends who live in the suburbs, or no?
No, a lot of people are friends with the people from around here because it's all who we grew up with. Same kids.
Do you think that among those friends who you have who live in the suburbs, are you like the only friend who's from the city, or there's other friends from the city?
There are others, I think. I think there are others.
Do you feel like you fit in or stand out?
When I was younger, I felt like I stood out, but now, as I've grown more, I feel like I fit in.
What made you feel like you stood out when you were younger?
Just because, like I said before, I always wanted to live in a bigger house, a better neighborhood, and I just felt like since I didn't live where they lived, like I just felt different, out of place.
Do you think that they really saw you as different, or were you seeing yourself as different?
I think I was seeing myself. I think it was all in my head, like I forget the word.
And as you've grown up, that's changed?
Yes, definitely.
You feel more like you belong?
Yes.
I know that over in Penwyn, there's a lot of families who move from
Overbrook or West Philly right into Penwyn, like only move a couple blocks,
Yeah.
but move to the different school districts so that their kids can go to school
Better
over there.
education,
Do you
yeah.
know anybody who has moved?
Not to Penwyn, but I know people that moved from this type of area to another area with better schools and all that.
And then I also know there's some people who they might have been in school with me, like in the suburbs, and they would have like parents who live in Philly, but then they might have an uncle or aunt who lives a house in the suburbs. So they like enroll in school
Yeah.
as like the address of where the uncle or aunt lives in the suburbs instead of in here. You've heard about this?
Yeah.
You
I
know
was going to do
anybody?
it.
Oh, you were going
Yeah,
to
I
do
was
it?
going to do it. Yeah, but I didn't.
For what school?
Lower Marion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's where I went. Yeah.
Oh, you went to Lower Marion?
Yeah. You have a family member who lives over there?
Yeah, my dad's friend lives there, and he was going to let me use the address.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Did you talk about what that process is like? Like, he's your dad's friend, but he's not a family member?
No, he's not. But, no, we didn't really talk too much about the process. They just said that they would put my address down as theirs.
How old were you when you were planning this?
I think I was 14, 15. When I
So,
was here.
like in the last couple years?
In the last 2 years, yeah.
You were going to stop going to Bonner and Prendy and go to Lower Marion?
Yeah.
Was this your idea?
No, it wasn't. It was me and my mom's idea. Yeah.
How did you come up with that idea? Why did you want to do that?
I wanted to move schools because I felt like I didn't like the school I'm at now. I just felt like I wasn't fitting in really, so I wanted to go somewhere else. And just while it was still early enough to move, since I was only, I think, a freshman.
Did everyone in your family feel on board with this? You going to the other
yeah.
school?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How come you decided not to do it?
Well, I stuck it out at the school I'm at now, and I got more friends, felt more comfortable around the people I'm around every day, and I just started to like it. I just had to give it time, I think.
Cool. Was there any other schools you were thinking about going to, like that would be in Philly or somewhere closer, besides, you know, kind of having to contrive this address situation, which was kind of fake, right?
Yeah, it was fake.
It was fake.
Yeah. But I was supposed to go to, before I went to the school, I was supposed to go to Cristo Rey.
Yeah.
I was gonna go there instead. That's the only
Philly?
only other school in Philly that I would go to.
Did you feel like, well, have you ever been to the school, like Bala Kenwood or Lower Marion, the ones over there?
I've seen it. I've never been inside.
Okay. So you were thinking that you didn't fit in so much at your current school, you would go to a school you'd never been to at all before?
Yep.
And you thought you would be more likely to fit in there?
Yeah.
Did you know anybody who went there?
No, that was just my thought process. I wanted a new start.
Do you feel like a lot of people who grow up around here decide they want a new start at some point?
Yeah, I think it just gets old around here, get bored.
People who haven't been to West Philly or haven't been to Overbrook, what do people not know or what do people misunderstand?
It's not that bad. It's not a terrible part of Philly. It's actually really quiet, this neighborhood. It's nice and quiet.
You would advocate for people moving here?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's not bad, but if you have another choice, you know, you could go with it.
I'm glad I got to have these honest conversations with so many young people, conversations that I was not really having when I was their age, and I'm glad some people in the suburbs and in West Philadelphia will hear their perspectives too. We grew up divided by the county line, but people living on the same side don't always share the same view, and people living on opposite sides sometimes have more in common than we're taught to expect. For Block by Block, I'm Thomas Hagen.